Let me switch to this. Yeah, okay. So today on WMCT, I'm excited to welcome Graham Sharp, a banjo player, songwriter, founding member of the Grammy Award-winning Steep Canyon Rangers. Since forming in North Carolina, the Rangers have built a reputation as one of the most dynamic and innovative groups in bluegrass, blending tradition with fresh sounds and captivating live performances. From sharing the stage with Steve Martin to headlining festivals around the world, they've become leaders in shaping modern bluegrass. And this weekend they'll be right here. Well, last weekend they were here at Bristol Rhythm Roots. And Graham, I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's really an honor. I mean, I've seen you perform many times, but it's
Right on.
when I retired and came down here and got a radio show. It was one of my hopes that I would to be able to interview you. I don't have it. I actually have a banjo that I'm going to learn how to use. I've been trying to learn how to use it for 10 years.
Right on, right on. Yeah, it's like yeah, you got that. It's like the gun in Chekhov. Once you got the banjo in the room, you gotta fire that thing off.
Yeah. I actually, it was funny when I was working, I would sign up for lessons, and then every time I signed up for a lesson, I was terrible at practicing, but then I would end up like getting promoted or reassigned, and then I would like put it down. And now that I'm retired, I'm trying to do it. Um, so if you don't mind, what uh, take us back? What got you started with the banjo and in bluegrass? And I hope you don't mind. I'm going to kind of do this as sort of a history of you and Steep Canyon Rangers, and then Bristol, and then what's coming forward. Because I don't know how much my. I mean, we're mostly a country station.
Yeah,
We used to have a bluegrass show on Sundays. I don't if they still do it. They buy it. It's not hosted in house.
right.
So
Gotcha.
I play some of your songs when I can, but this has been a great. So what got you started with the banjo and with bluegrass music?
Yeah, so I really got started in high school. So I didn't grow up around it necessarily. I mean, it was around, but I wasn't really aware of it. I grew up in North Carolina in Greensboro, so it was all around, but it was never really part of my orbit growing up. But yeah, I had a teacher in high school who really kind of got me into the world of bluegrass, and I think kind of between that and Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead, he was a banjo player,
Yeah,
and kind of
the
those
first.
two influences really brought me in.
You'd be amazed at how many people. I even had friends that were deadheads that didn't know he played the banjo and played bluegrass. Um, but did you already play in high school? Did you already play the guitar, the banjo, and that kind of stuff?
So in high school, I really just played. I was in like the high school band, jazz band, and then played saxophone. So I had music in my life, but uh, nothing like what the banjo quickly became, which was something that I wanted to be doing all the time in my spare time and in my not spare time. Just kind of became an obsession.
Well, how did you and the original members of the Steep Canyon Rangers come together back? It was in
So
college, right?
yeah, we were buddies in college, and we were really kind of friends before music even happened. I think we were all just sort of starting to pick up our instruments a little bit as we were just meeting and hanging around the same places as kind of a group of friends, and discovered that we all had these instruments and were really interested in bluegrass and learning it, and just didn't really think twice about, yeah, well, let's just do it. And yeah, just like same, just started devoting all our sort of spare time to it, and one thing became another, and added a couple more people in who had some experience, with bluegrass through like the music program there at UNC. Um, our bass player Charles didn't have a bass originally, so we'd have to practice in the stairwell. When we wanted to play with a bass, we'd have to go in the stairwell of the music building, which is where his bass that he was renting was. And he couldn't take it out, but people in the music program would hear us playing in there, and there were a handful that had some experience with traditional music, so they joined in, and those were some of the early members of the Rangers.
All right. And was there anything that kind of made it seem like this was more than just a fun college activity. This could actually be your career.
No, no, there wasn't. I mean, beyond the fact that, like I say, it's kind of how we wanted to spend all our time, and we were really devoted to it. I think the first time we played a show and there were actually people out there listening, we couldn't believe it. That was a pretty shocking experience. But it's just kind of a gradual progression. One thing became another, and before you knew it, we were, playing 150 shows a year and making a living doing it.
That's great, and traveling around the world. Um, that's got to be a big thrill. The one thing I wanted to ask about is like I grew up in Chicago. I was born and raised. I lived there until just a few years ago, and I listened to country music. We had one country music station in Chicago, and I never got into bluegrass until well, I had heard Jerry Garcia playing some bluegrass, but then you were the first band that my wife and I saw that were
Mm,
traditional bluegrass, and I wonder. I don't. There's a certain amount of innovation, but I'm not going to say you guys are the most successful bluegrass band. But I do think, at least from my point of view, you guys are the ones that really have a big crossover effect. And part of that is working with Steve Martin and
sure.
Edie Brickell and some other people that kind of have crossover. But a lot of it is you. I mean, I never saw a bluegrass band in Chicago until I saw you guys. So
Yeah.
you go to different places and play different venues. And how does that? I mean, am I right about that? Are you guys a big crossover thing? Have you been? Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and we definitely weren't the first to do it, and weren't the last to do it either. But that was always part of our sort of MO. I mean, like I say, we came from lots of different musical influences. Everybody in the band, so we weren't just, we weren't just aware of, or bluegrass music. We were interested in all sorts of music, and also on the other hand, we were there in the middle part of North Carolina trying to figure out how we get to be a band that can play on these traditional bluegrass festivals, and
Yeah.
how do you get on the stage after Lonesome River Band or Doyle Lawson and hold your own at these festivals. So we had to kind of cut our traditional chops that way. um, but we also sort of always had sort of one eye on what was outside of that as well.
Yeah. When I remember the first time I saw you was at Ravinia up
Right.
in Highland
Yeah.
Park, and that was with Steve Martin. But
Yeah.
then we enjoyed the music. I have to say, we went to see you because we were Steve Martin fans, but we enjoyed the music so much that the next time we saw you was at Old Town School of Folk Music with just you guys.
Yeah.
And it was boy, that's an intimate place. It's very small. We were in the front row. It was great. Um, and I had a question about the way you guys performed. I have two questions. First of all,
Hmm.
Nikki, I'm sorry, the fiddle player's name is Nikki, right? Nikki Sanders.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, the one question if I ever got a chance, I was going to ask is he moves around on stage more than any fiddle player I've ever seen. And does that cause? Is that? Am I wrong about that, or is it? And does that cause problems for you guys? Does he bump into people when he's moving around?
He will occasionally bump into you. Occasionally he wipes out. Um, he has taken a couple spills over the years. Maybe once about every about 10 years or so, he'll take a spill. Um, but no, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just that's just him, and like when he plays, he's really expressing, you know. It really is a part of him, and he feels it, and I think the way he moves is just an extension of that.
And the other thing I noticed about when you guys play, and I don't know if this is just I'm noticing it because I wanted to talk to you at some point, but you guys were the first ones I saw that had all your own microphones and didn't have one. I've seen you perform with like one microphone where everybody walks up to it while you're playing
Yep.
and sings and does whatever. But I also, you guys were the first ones I saw that had you're each your own microphone and separated on stage. Is that just it just happens, or is it? I mean, the one microphone thing, is that a traditional thing?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty traditional thing, and it probably goes back to, bands going into the radio stations in the old days, and that was the radio stations are really how they got the word out about the bands. They'd go to a town for 3 weeks or a month or something like that and play the radio station every morning and then play shows kind of in the surrounding areas. So I don't know for a fact, but I just imagine, I can see the bands crowded around a single mic in those radio stations and that being the way they do it, and then that extended to their shows. But when you go to these, most of the bluegrass festivals where we were coming up, the norm was that everybody would have their own instrument mic and their own vocal mic. um that's pretty standard.
Okay. Maybe I just yeah. Um, the other thing is that I had heard on a different place that I don't know if you were the first ones to do this, but bringing drums into bluegrass music, is that an innovation that you guys? Um, I don't know if you started it, but you've really seemed to embrace it. Is that
Yeah, I mean that's something, that yeah, again, like even like the Osborne brothers, who were huge in the 60s, 70s, they brought in drums and used drums. But for us it was just another step, another way to just sort of expand our style and make our palette just a little bit more diverse as far as what we could do as a band and what we were comfortable with. And um yeah, so I mean, it was by no means the first ones to do it, but yeah, a little bit out of the ordinary.
and so the other last thing on this thing, the changes you've had, you had Woody, I can't remember his last name, left, and Aaron Burnett
Uh-huh.
is new, right?
Yep. Yep.
And there was a story. I think somebody told it at Rhythm Roots. I don't know if it was you or somebody I was just talking to. His first uh, his first show was a real big one, right? I mean, he just had to. Isn't that part of the deep end? Is the whole?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, we had him out to audition. His first shows were, yeah, at the Hollywood Bowl. Um, it's two sold out nights at the Hollywood Bowl with the LA Philharmonic backing us up. So um yeah, a little bit stressful, I would imagine. I would imagine it was a little stressful. Because I mean, the thing with when you're playing with a symphony is that the arrangements, all the timing, everything has to be exactly the same every time. There's no wiggle room. Whereas generally, you could take your time, and if you need to figure something out or remember a lyric, you can add a couple beats or something like that. But with the symphony, you can't do that. So it's a little bit of added stress, but
Yeah.
I mean, he handled it. He handled it so well. I mean, there was no doubt that he was the guy.
And speaking of arrangements, the some of the songs that I love that you guys did was um, the oh god, Sweet Baby James at the Merle Fest a couple years ago,
Yeah, yeah,
and you've done a couple other cover songs that were great, but it seemed unusual for a bluegrass arrangement. And is that hard to do, to take a song that's really not a bluegrass song and arrange it as a bluegrass song? I mean, I know I've seen bands do ACDC as bluegrass, so
sure. Yeah. No, it's actually, I mean, it's pretty fun. I mean, that's a really fun thing to do. And who was it? I think Bill Monroe said it is like if you can play bluegrass, you can play any kind of music.
yeah.
Um, and to a degree, I think that's right. So no, I think we enjoy doing that, and I think lots of bands enjoy taking songs from outside the genre and making it work.
Yeah, I saw. I just recently heard somebody did American Pie, which I thought was great as a bluegrass song.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so last week, last 10 days ago, whatever, you were at
Hmm.
Bristol Rhythm and Roots, where I saw you in Cumberland Park, and you basically closed out the show. It was a great show. You've been there several times, right? What is it like to play at the birthplace of country music?
I mean, it's always special in Bristol. We probably done that festival 5 or 6 times at least, I would think. And I mean, it's easily, one of the best festivals in the region. I mean, I love the way it just sort of takes over the town,
Yeah,
and that they've it's just gotten better and better every year that we've been there as far as the festival goes. But that Bristol holds a special spot in the world of country music, and when I say country music, I mean back then country music sounded a little bit more like bluegrass music
Yeah.
than what now sounds like country music. It was pretty rootsy stuff. You go back to the Carter family and Jimmy Rogers and the people who were there for that original, what they called the Big Bang of Country. So, I think anybody who's in bluegrass is a real student of the history of the music. Um, you have to be. So, yeah, when you go to Bristol, it's just charged with that whole atmosphere.
It is. It is nice when you mentioned it takes over the town. It is. That was. This is the first year I was at Rhythm and Roots, and it is interesting the way it almost seems like the way they set up the stages. It almost seems like the town was set up for music. I mean, it's really strange how you could just go from stage to stage, and I mean I know one of them really is the smaller stages. It's actually they have we went to festivals there all summer long, so it is set up for that. But it is great the way it takes over the town. Even the back
Yeah,
alleys, they had smaller bands in the back alleys at 10 o'clock at night. You know, you can go see them.
yeah, totally.
Do you get to see? I mean, did you walk around at all? Do you get to see the other bands, or do you come in on Sunday and?
Yeah, I mean, we were playing the night before, so we didn't get there till the day of. But yeah, I walked around and caught a few other bands while we were there.
Um, uh, you weren't you were not at Merle Fest this year, were you, or did I just miss you? Because I was
Let's see. We were not at Merle Fest this year. No, we were there, I think, the year before. It's usually about an every other year thing for us.
okay. Um, do you is there a difference in the way you approach festivals as opposed to other concerts? I mean, I didn't really notice a difference in your style, but do you approach it differently?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I mean, generally festival sets are a little shorter, so you have a little less time. So, we're doing a live show, there may be a little more contour to the show. You may bring it down a little bit lower and just, change the tempo and stuff like that a little more. But in general, in a festival set, you keep it pretty upbeat the whole way through.
Yeah, because
Eh,
it's a mixture of diehard fans and people who are maybe listening for the first time, right? As opposed to somebody who buys a ticket specifically to go
yeah,
to a venue and see you.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, so in those situations, maybe we'll do a couple, an extra cover song or something like that at a festival too, just something familiar for people if they don't know the band.
Um, do you have any? I suppose I should have asked this before, but do you have any? Is there any special memories from Bristol? Like you said, you've been there 5 or 6 times. Is there? Was there any year that was more unusual than others? Like I said, I've only been there this last year, so
Right. This year was our first time playing in that Cumberland Park, which I really enjoyed. We've done several of the other stages, but we hadn't done that one. And it felt nice just there on the grass under the trees. I thought that was really special.
yeah, it was a lot nicer there than some of the other stages because you're sitting, on concrete and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
The and you, I heard you mention the helicopter statue they have in there that you guys were taking. That you brought the helicopter so you could take over. What was it? What was the joke? Um, so I also let's see. Um, okay, well that's what I had about the Bristol thing, but I did want to get back to something that I heard you talk about a few months ago on a podcast, and I live basically equal distance between Bristol and Asheville, and
Uh-huh.
we don't get to Asheville as much as we like. But I heard you mention that you guys did something to help build back downtown, and I was wondering how has the art, after Hurricane Helene, which was a year ago last Friday, how has it recovered? I haven't been there since about 6 months ago, so.
I mean, a lot of it has recovered and is building back. And it's been amazing, just the way everybody's pitched in and how much work has gone into it. I think right now the biggest thing is that Asheville just needs like all the tourists to come back. I think the
Yeah.
businesses that count on people being here, are still, still waiting for those for the tourists to come back in the numbers that they were before Helene. So that part of it, that part of it's still hard, as far as, all the way from like um hospitality workers to the business owners, all those people are still hurting a little bit.
Yeah, I heard the North Carolina commercials were open for business. The
Yeah.
tourism commercials. So
Yeah.
hopefully it comes back. We're just starting to repair the roads after all the debris is done. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah.
so heard at I heard your third song of your set at Bristol was
Yep.
called "Circle in the Drain," and
Uh-huh.
I was like, "What a great song! This is my new favorite song." And I went looking for it and couldn't
Yeah.
find it anywhere. So, is this
Yep.
a new album coming out here? This new song?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that song will be out in just a few weeks as a single.
All right.
And then the whole album will be out. I'm trying to think. The whole album, well, not till next year.
Okay.
But we put out one single from that album already, a song called Next Act, and then Circle in the Drain will be the next single from that record. So yeah, we're super excited. Got a new record, and I think it's got a little more tends toward a little more of the bluegrass stuff, which was fun to just kind of make a more bluegrassy record. We hadn't done that in a little while, so yeah, that's super excited about it. And yeah, I'm glad you like that. I'm glad you like that
Oh, I
tune.
love that.
That's
I love that song.
been,
I have to say, I I don't imagine that anybody else singing it. Your voice really made the song, and it also made me go looking for other songs that you've done.
yeah.
Do you guys sort of spread out the singing aspect of it? I mean, I know you sing some of the songs, and Aaron sings some of
Yep.
the songs, but how do you guys decide who sings what? Is it just
I mean, we just try to see who fits the character the best, for the song. Myself and then Aaron do, the majority of the writing. Um, and then from there, like on this new record, I'm singing a song that Aaron wrote, and I've never sung a song on a Steep Canyon Rangers that somebody else in the band wrote, and I don't think he's ever been on a record where somebody besides him sang a song that he wrote. And he sings a couple songs that I wrote on the record, and so, I think it's just the way basically what we just tried to do is just and it kind of echoes what we do on stage these days, which is just try to keep it dynamic and keep the focus shifting from one person to the next as much as possible. Just to, we got a lot of talented people. I mean, you probably noticed like our drummer come up and play dobro or play guitar and switch instruments around and stuff like that. And, it's just something that I guess we just try to make sure we can highlight what everybody does on stage and on the record.
um, you mentioned that you do a lot of the writing. The if you don't mind me asking about the process, when you write a song, do you write the music first and then add the words, or the words first and add the music?
Yes. Um, I think usually I'll get like a line in my head, and the line usually has like a kind of a rhythm to it. So I think that kind of maybe it is the words first. Maybe you just get a line and then the line sort of has a rhythm to it, and then the song is going to follow that rhythm and that feel from there. And then, yeah, just keep chasing it down from there, keep whittling away.
um, do you? Uh, I'm sorry. So looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of the Steep Canyon Rangers? I mean, uh, is there going to be any more? I mean, is it pretty set right now? The band and you going forward for the next few years?
Yeah, the band is set. Like I say, we got this new record that I think is going to be really great. I think it's going to be great for us. We're just finishing up mixing the whole thing right now. So I'm really excited about this record and just kind of about um what the record is, for the band as far as like a little bit of a return to a little more roots based thing, and I'm sure we'll do another record after that that is, more of a change up like the last couple records we've done. But I think we enjoy just sort of being whatever band we need to be in the moment, to fit the songs is what we've always tried to do. So I think we got a killer band and some great voices and lots of great shows coming up. So, it's an exciting time just because you don't, when you've been doing it as long as we have, you don't get a lot of chances to sort of reinvent and sort of rebuild the sound, which is what we're getting to do now with a couple new members in the band here in the last few years. So
Yeah.
that feels good.
Do you tour a lot? I mean, how many on average? How many shows do you do a year?
Probably around 90 shows a year.
All right, and that's and I know you're doing a lot around here, the eastern part, right? I mean, how often do you travel overseas?
Uh, Very seldom. Very
Okay.
seldom. Yeah. But we're all over the place. We're in Florida this weekend and then Las Vegas the next weekend and here and there. So we definitely get around.
Do you think bluegrass itself is changing, or if so, where do you see it heading in the future?
I mean, I don't think it's changing. I mean, I think it's like any music. It changes every time somebody new picks up the instrument and starts playing it, So I mean, change is nothing uncommon. And I think there's still a lot of people who play really traditional bluegrass and I don't think that's ever going away. But I mean, the young people who are getting into it, there's so much talent and there's people are it's just people are just doing it at such a high level. It's really evolving quickly, I think, bluegrass, and it's really exciting to watch, having become kind of an elder statesman of it.
It seems like it's becoming more popular. Is that just my perception, or do you think as a genre it's becoming more popular? Do you see more
I think
people?
I think as a genre, it's becoming more popular. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think more and more people are getting into it, and I think the music's just getting better and better all the time.
yeah. If you could collaborate, and you mentioned some of these young artists, if you could collaborate with any artist, well, either inside or outside of bluegrass. I was going to ask about outside of bluegrass, but you mentioned that these younger kids are so well. And if you could collaborate with anybody on a future product, who would you think you would want to play with?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Jack White.
uh, I was going to make a suggestion. We got Lyle Lovett coming here next week or to Boone. That's
Yeah, he
Lyle.
would do. Well, I love
That,
it. Well, I love it would do. That's for
that,
sure.
that would be
Yeah.
such a strange combination, but Jack White, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We saw Jack White at a festival. We played a couple weeks ago. He was there, and it was a great band, great songs. I don't know. I thought it would be a fun combination.
um, I met Tony Triska at Merlefest this past year. I
Oh,
did an
awesome.
interview with him. Yeah,
Love Tony.
he was one of the first people too that I listened to when I started taking lessons at Old Town School of folk
Yeah,
music,
yeah,
and yeah, and that was a fun interview. That'd be fun to see you guys play with him too.
yeah.
Um,
Tony's one of the best.
well, I appreciate you joining me. That's all the questions I have. I was trying to keep it under a half an hour, and I did right very well. So
Right on.
I appreciate you coming. We are having in Mountain City the 100th anniversary of the Fiddlers Convention this
Wow.
weekend. So tell Nikki Sanders if he wants to come by, he can stop by the studio on Friday, and he can do the director's commentary of this interview when I play
I love it. Right
it.
on. Well, I appreciate it, David.
Uh,
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks for joining me. I'm a big fan. I hope I can see you again soon, real soon.
Yeah, man. Sounds great, dude. We'll stay in touch.
All right, thanks. Bye.
One false step is all that you get when you're living out on the edge. Feeling screaming strong as a speeding train, flying full steam ahead, a speeding train. Circle in the drain, going round and around and down, down, down. Pharmacy came to ease that pain like a butter to the bleaching bones. To ease the pain, circle in the drain, going round and around and down, down, down. But you grabbed a hold of me and you would not let me go. Then all the stars went out. You're the only light that shone. What I'm willing to die for. I'm a survivor. Yes, these all the guys around here got young, or else it just peaked too soon. Wind up waiting for the end to come, some sunny afternoon, waiting on the end, watching all my friends going round and round and down, down, down. But you grabbed a hold of me and you would not let me go. When all the stars went out, you're the only light that shone. What I'm willing to die for, but I'm staying alive. Oh, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.